All right, let's get this thing kicked off. I appreciate everyone hopping on this call. In this call, I'm going to just discuss a couple things right off the bat, some things that I want to touch on before we really dive into all the trade setups. Right, for the people that are brand new, we've had quite a new people join in the past week or so. Normally, right on Sunday calls, what I do on Sundays, right after the markets pretty much have opened up, is I'm going to be going over all of the watch list. So I'll be going over the entire watch list, right? We'll be looking at each individual currency pair on TradingView. I'll be showing you my trade setups. We'll see if we could potentially even enter in some of these trades already as the markets have just opened up. As you all know, I have already added to my gold position. So if you haven't, please join that gold channel, right? So, there's a couple new people. I just want to explain, how these trade setups are actually sent out. So I'll originally send my trade setup in the XK signals and announcements. So I'll show you a screenshot of the trade setup, kind of tell you a little bit about the setup, and then I'll provide a link to a separate channel that you can join. If you want to continue to stay up to date on that currency pair, please join that channel so then you don't have to join it later on, because that channel will remain active and all of my updates on that currency pair will be going to that channel. And then you'll be able to get, updates throughout the time. I do talk quite a bit in the XK support too about certain trades, but for those people that aren't as active, sometimes you'll probably wake up and there'll be like 130 messages. I'm not expecting you to read through 130 messages to kind of find out what's going on. So I've already created those separate channels for each individual currency pair, so we can get that going. Let me just admit Kevin here. So that's kind of the rough draft of how those trade setups actually come out. Another thing that I want to note is everything that's kind of in the group, right? I want to kind of remain private inside that. I know that some people are going to be new, kind of joining and being excited and want to share, what is kind of going on in the group, maybe your layouts of the MT4 platform. I'm totally fine with you sharing your own results publicly if that's what you want to do. But I would just, kind of refrain from sharing other people's results or, taking screenshots of your MT4 platform with all the indicators on there. When I originally started doing XK, I did do this before in the past, about 2.5 years ago. Like when I first started putting XK together, I had a group where I was teaching them how to actually use XK. And I had someone from a legit prop firm get inside my group and kind of expose it. And then he was actually using that system. And I don't want that to kind of happen with this. I want XK to kind of remain small and small. For a small fish, right? I don't want some guy that's making, billions of dollars to take advantage of this. It's something on the smaller scale. So I would just appreciate that every conversation and everything that we talk about in the XK just kind of remains in the private groups. And then, for my privacy's sakes, so that people aren't trying to hack me, I doubt, any of you that are on the call are one of those people that are, trying to get in here to potentially, get access to information that I have and then hack it. But for my privacy sakes, I do only pretty much demo account results and FTMOs, and FTMO is still a demo account, right? So it's not like you're really going to be able to get access to my funds that way. So I do keep that stuff kind of private. It's just something that I've done for the longest time. If some of you are in this group and you're like, am I legit? Do I actually place these trades on my live account and stuff? Those are very valid questions. And I just ask you that you actually trust me that I do still place these trades on my live accounts. I'm still following everything that I'm saying. And if you really need hardcore evidence of me placing these trades, then ask me in private and we could talk about that. But I think everyone on this group is pretty straightforward. Like, you guys have faith in me, and I appreciate all of that so much. So those are really the top things that I really want to discuss. Make sure that you guys are staying up to date with all of the content coming out. I know obviously some of you guys have full-time jobs, going to school, and have all this other stuff going on. But before you're like really starting to ask so many questions, make sure that you've already consumed all the previous content that has already been out there for XK. I will be putting together essentially a PDF file with all of the links, because obviously the YouTube links are not public, so you can't get access to them. But I will be putting together a PDF file with all of these links in order of which ones you should probably watch first and which one, the complete list to that. So look forward to having access to that PDF file this week, and then you can go ahead and sort through the links that way. It's going to be easier for you. I know looking through the Telegram channel can be a little hectic, and if you don't watch one video, then a week goes by and you're trying to find it, and it's hard. I understand. So we'll get that all organized. Clint, go ahead and put that on the list, PDF file of all the links. I'm sure he's probably already written it down. And yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into the trade setups. I did make one mistake, and that was on CAD JPY. On my watch list, I said CAD JPY. I was looking to sell it this week. I'm actually looking to potentially buy it if it enters in my buy zone, and I don't think it's going to enter my buy zone this week, and more than likely it's going to enter in my buy zone next week. But we'll kind of see on how that plays out. But just know that on the watch list, CAD JPY, it says that I'm looking to sell it, but I am looking to actually buy it. So I'm going to pull up TradingView. We're going to go over some of these trade setups. All of these trades that I am going to be showing on this call today are going to be swing trades, right? So swing trades are held for an average of 4 days all the way up to, potentially, 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously on those FTMO accounts, the people that are doing the free trials, the people that are doing the challenges, and the accounts aren't officially funded, you can swing trade. You can hold your trades over the weekend. And I actually encourage it on the challenge because it makes it easier to pass. Because you almost, like, if you get in a swing trade and then you hold in that swing trade, right, you'll always pretty much be in floating profit, and you won't have to worry so much about hitting that 5% drawdown on the daily max loss here. So let's go ahead. CAD JPY. All right, so we have a buy zone here. I don't have any buy limits put in place yet. This buy light, so when I actually zoom out, let's go to not a monthly. Let's go to a weekly time frame. All right, so on the weekly time frame, right, we had this crash here back when COVID first came out, market crash, and we've been pretty much on an uptrend ever since, and we have had this break of this trend line here. So I'm thinking what is going to happen over the next couple of days or this week is we're going to see a retest of that trend line, and then we'll probably see a further push down. And then I'm looking to actually buy it at this key level of support here, right? When we look back on the daily time frame, this zone here has acted as a level of support. And I have my stop loss, right underneath that wick here that could potentially, wick down a little below our buy zone. I don't have any buy limits put in place because, again, I don't know if this trade is even going to enter in this buy zone this week. I mean, we're going to have to see a pretty impulsive move. I'm thinking that we're going to see 1 or 2 days of bullish, and then we'll see another push to the downside, and then we'll be actually looking to buy for it. When it gets closer, the price action gets closer to that buy zone, I will be setting up some buy limits, and I will be sending those out in advance. So for those that aren't, staying or can't stay right up to date on the trades, or you're, on a whole other side of the world, right, you'll actually have access to buy limits. That way you can set up the trade and set it and forget it. If those get triggered, awesome. Normally the buy limits and sell limits that I actually place on trades are more accurate, and they give you a better position, a better entry point. So we're being pretty picky on CAD JPY. I'm not going to pull this up on XK. I'm going to only focus on the trades that I think that we're going to be able to enter in immediately or in the next day or so on XK. So I'm not going to spend like a whole lot of time on this trade because it's we're still waiting on it. I mean, I plot these trades out and we could wait, a whole week before we see something happen. And you guys are going to notice as time goes on, a lot of you have probably seen, like, I've been trading the same currency pairs for the past 3 weeks. Because once I get that list set in stone, we can just follow that trend for some time here. So this is a trade that we've been in for quite some time. Stop loss has already moved to break even. We haven't had any type of retracement for a second chance. Normally what will end up happening is we get in a trade, right? We'll hit our first take profit or maybe even our second take profit. Then we'll get a retrace or a small correction. Is normally a great opportunity for a second chance for those people that did miss it or those people that already took profits. Then we get on that second chance and we can see that continue. Is we are outside that B band zone, right? B bands, normally when we're outside that B band zone, for this case, if we're underneath the B band zone, we would be looking to actually buy it. We're currently in those cells, but we are outside that B band zone. So the chances of this trend continuing to the downside have now decreased because we are already outside that B band zone. We don't have an arrow present, which would be the second confirmation of we're seeing this trend continue to the upside. And we look at the stock indicator here, right? Stock indicator is in that oversold area. We're looking at the RSI. We're right at that 25 line on the RSI on that daily time frame. What I am going to be really focused more so on this trade setup is the weekly time frame, right? We entered in on the daily. Daily's all lined up. Normally, what happens is I always go to the next higher time frame and base my judgment off that. On that weekly time frame, we have a fresh weekly cross on that absolute strength histogram. So same thing with all the other time frames. Normally, when we get that cross on that absolute strength histogram, generally speaking, we'll see that trend actually continue for the next 1 to 3 times that time frame. For this example, it's the weekly time frame. So for the next 1 to 3 weeks, we should see CHF JPY on that weekly time frame continue to be bearish. Now, that's not a guarantee because if we're looking at the past data of CHF JPY on the weekly time frame, how many times have we seen 2 weeks in a row of the same trend? I mean, you can see, right, we just kind of like eyeball it. We've seen a lot of weeks where it's actually just been a consolidation. We see one bull week, one bearish week, one bull week, one bearish week. A vast majority of the time, we do see some of these runs here where we do get several weeks in a row of that trend actually continuing. So it definitely could happen. I'm not saying it's not, but the chances of it happening are less than it actually happening. When we're looking at that monthly time frame, this one's actually looking very, very nice, right? Outside that B band zone, that's confirmation 1. Confirmation 2, we got that arrow present. We have a bearish engulfing candlestick on that monthly time frame. We have 9 days left. So we might see this, continue to push down, right? Stock indicators in that oversold or overbought area. Good sign on the monthly, but a lot can happen in a month. We could see this, next week, right? We have 9 days left. So the next 9 days actually just retrace back up, and then this could have a wick at the bottom of it, and then next month would be that next impulsive move to the downside. I think that is more likely to happen, and based off just past, I mean, a lot of the times we'll have a wick at that bottom of the monthly time frame. I mean, see, we look at all these candlesticks, a lot of them have a wick at the bottom. So for this candle to finish off strong bearish, I think is less likely to actually happen. Let's go ahead and look at that 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame, right? We're looking like we are right outside the B band zone. We have the blue arrow present. This is a good sign that we should see actually CHF JPY probably retest a key level of a support, right? We're pretty far away from that 200 MA on that 4-hour time frame. So we could actually see a retest of that 200 MA on the 4-hour time frame and then another push down. Looking at the smaller time frames, as long as we're trading below this 200 MA, that's what I'm really going to be focused on, right? So I would be, when I'm in this trade, looking for potential exit of it, right? to confirm that this trend is now has ended and we're going to see a retracement on it, what I would be paying attention to is I would probably be paying attention to the 5-minute or 15-minute. Let's see here. Probably, yeah, you could probably base it off of, honestly, the 5-minute time frame. Looking at the 5-minute or 15-minute time frame, 15 minutes a little higher, but looking at that 200 MA, if we see a strong break above that 200 MA on the 15-minute for sure, if we see a strong break on the 15-minute, then I would be looking to actually close the trade, at least a giant portion of that trade, leaving a small portion open. So I would say I would close 80% of whatever I have open. If it breaks strong above that 200 MA on a 15-minute time frame, and then just wait it out and wait for that second chance, because more than likely, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see some type of retracement on CHF JPY to the upside before we see this actually continue to be bearish. But we are in a fresh new week, and that normally what happens on that weekly time frame is we do get another impulsive move. So I'm thinking beginning of the week, we'll see a little bit of retracement, and then maybe at the end of the week, we'll see it finish off to be bearish on CHF JPY. So that's what I'm kind of seeing on this trade setup. Nothing that we could enter in today, right? Let's go ahead and look at the next one. All right, we hit take profit too. Just looking at any other, key levels of support here. We can kind of come out to that weekly time frame because a lot of our judgment's been off of that. Another thing I just kind of want to note is every time we've actually reached this monthly resistance here, right? Reach it here. We reached it above here, but it's still, we reached it right. And here, we've actually had really impulsive move down. Right? Impulsive move down, impulsive move down. So I think it's a 50-50. I think it's a 50% chance we'll see that retracement, 50% chance we'll see that continuation. Stop loss has already moved up to break even. It's already a risk-free trade. I would be just waiting it out. I would be waiting and watching that 15-minute time frame. If we saw a strong break above that, closing 80% of that trade, leaving the rest of the trade open, and then waiting for a second chance if that happens. If the second chance never happens, guess what? You still have 20% of your trade open, and you can wait that out for take profit 3, right? So we've already hit, a vast majority of our profits here. Euro AUD, I've been waiting to buy Euro AUD. We got so close to hitting my buy limit down here. Let's go out to that daily time frame. I still think we have, so there's pretty much 2 scenarios here that are going to happen on Euro AUD. Scenario 1 is going to be, we're going to see a push down. We're going to see a push down to my buy zone, right? It's going to enter my buy zone. We'll pick up those buys and we'll see the swing up. Scenario 2 is pretty much we're going to see it come up to this monthly support and resistance this week. So I can kind of draw those out for you, right? We're going to see this kind of probably push down. And then push up, right? Scenario 1. Or what we're going to see on Euro AUD is we're going to see this continue to be bullish. And that is all going to depend on what we're seeing with XK, right? So I will send this setup after this call, the complete setup with buy limits and everything, so then you guys can keep track of it. Let's go ahead and see what XK is saying, and that might change some of my opinion on that. But all right, so 1 hour time frame, we reached that 1 hour 200 MA. We've seen some consolidation. Now we're seeing it push down lower. Go to the XK template. Go to the daily time frame. All right, daily time frame, right? We can see a double bottom here, right? Double bottom. We're outside that B band zone. Blue arrow is present. We're in the middle of the B bands. So it's not an ideal entry, right? If we entered in right now, there's more than likely a chance that we'll see some drawdown. We do have those lines actually touching on the absolute strength histogram. So those lines are either in the next 20 hours, what's going to happen is those lines are actually going to cross each other, and we'll see this continue to be bullish. So I would say in the next 20 hours, we'll be able to identify is if it's going to be scenario 1 or scenario 2. Is it going to go retrace into the buy zone, or are we going to continue to be bullish? I think in the next 20 hours, I'll have a definite confirmation of which one's going to happen. When we're looking at the stock indicator here, we have that blue line that was on top across the backside. That's indicating actually that we should see Euro AUD continue to be bullish. The stock indicator is always that earlier indication. That absolute strength histogram is more so that lagging indicator that's confirming that the trend is going to continue. I'd be more so interested in looking at these smaller time frames, right? 4 hour, we're already on that stock indicator, kind of already at the, just about to enter in that overbought area. We're outside the B band zone on the 4 hour. We have a red arrow present, right? When we went to that 1 hour time frame, we're at that 1 hour, 200 MA. I think based off of these smaller time frames, we're going to definitely see a push down. How big of a push down that is going to be, I have no idea. We'll have to just kind of wait this out. But this is a trade that I'd be patiently waiting for to enter. What I would be looking for to confirm if this is going to continue to be bearish or bullish is I would simply just wait the 20 hours. Wait, the 20 hours to see if this day actually ends up being bearish or bullish, and then we can look for an entry from there. I'm not, I don't force trades. You could most definitely enter in this trade right now. Your stop loss is going to be fairly big, right? We can do a little price thing. If you entered in right now, right, which you more than you could definitely do, you're looking at a 348 pip stop loss. That is quite a lot of drawdown to be handling. The risk to reward wouldn't really be there, right? So I would more than likely be waiting this out for the next 20 hours and then see how the next 20 hours closes out. If this trend is actually confirmed to be bullish, then we'll look for an entry on the 4 hour time frame, right? We'll want to see a retracement or correction back down, right? What more than likely would end up happening if we sell this to be bullish for the next 20 hours is we'll see probably hit this level of resistance here. We're at that 1.63 level, right where that take profit 1 is. We'll see a small retracement, and then we'll see another push up. So kind of waiting on Euro AUD, need additional confirmations to be entering into this trade. Euro JPY, we were in this trade for a quick scalp. I had added a take profit 4, and now I've added actually sell zone. So if you are still currently in this trade and you are in profit, I would be closing it out completely. I would be closing it out completely because I think on Euro JPY, we're going to see a retracement up into my sell zone. And then I'll be deleting this trade signal, right? My stop losses are already moved to break even. We hit take profit 1, we hit take profit 2, hit take profit 3 on my broker for some reason on, TradingView. Depending on the broker and stuff that you're using, it might be a few pips off. I'm thinking that, we're going to see this push up into my sell zone, and then that's when we're going to be able to get short on it. And when we do get short, I think we're going to see this actually have a pretty impulsive move to the downside, and I'll be adding a whole new trade setup. So if you are in Euro JPY, I'll be closing this trade out completely and just playing the waiting game and wait for me to send out the full trade setup on the Telegram channel. We can briefly look at this trade on XK to see what we're kind of seeing on it. I'll show you why I think it's actually going to have that retracement here. All right, so we come to the daily time frame. We're outside that B-band zone. We don't have that arrow present. When we look at this absolute strength, or not the absolute strength, when we look at that stock indicator, we're entering into that oversold area, right? This is not an ideal place that we want to be selling. We want to be selling when it's, above that. Looking at that 4-hour time frame, right? Stock indicator, blue line is on the top, has crossed. That's indicating on the 4-hour time frame. Obviously, we have 29 minutes still into this 4-hour candlestick closes. Sundays are fairly slow. We may not see as much volatility. Might see just a good state of consolidation. But the stock indicator is indicating that on the 4-hour time frame, this is going to continue to be bullish. If we, in the next 4 to 8 hours, we got that confirmation on the absolute strength histogram. So if that blue line crossed the downside, that would indicate that for the next 4 to 16 hours, we should see Euro JPY continue to be bullish. So 1-hour time frame, right? Stock indicator crossed. Absolute strength histogram is literally touching, so we could see this continue to be bullish. So yeah, I'm going to be playing the waiting game on this. I think all the confirmations are there that this is going to continue to be bullish. Some of you may be asking, well, Jesse, if you know that it's actually going to more than likely retrace, why don't you get long? Like, why don't you actually enter in a buy? Because I know that the higher time frames, the main trend, that weekly time frame, the monthly time frame, the daily time frame is not so much, but those higher time frames, the main trend is bearish. So I don't want to be trading against that main trend because this very well could see a state of consolidation, another impulsive move to the downside. And I just want to be very picky on the entry points that I'm actually taking. So I'd rather get short on it because I know the longer time frame is actually in my favor, and we could more than likely see an impulsive move based off that longer time frame. And I'm more looking for those odds of the trend continuing in my favor on those based off those longer time frames. So, like I said, close out it completely. Wait patiently for me to send out the new trade setup if it does come out. If it doesn't, right, if we see Euro JPY come back up, never hits my stop loss for break even, and sees it to continue to the downside, then that's what happens. If you are in the trade, maybe just close out again, kind of like on CHF JPY. Just close out 80% of your trade, leave a small portion of it open, and then you can ride it out, right? It's a risk-free trade, and then you could, if it continues to go down, it's in your favor, awesome. If it continues up, guess what? You closed 80% of your trade. You hit your stop loss for break even. Nothing was lost. Wait for that re-entry on that sell, right? Based off of that 4-hour time frame, I would love to see a kind of a retest of that 200 MA on that 4-hour time frame. As time goes on, this 200 MA is going to get lower and lower as time goes on. So by the time we're actually looking to sell it, this 200 MA will actually be in the sells, and I'll be looking for a reject off of that 200 MA on the 4-hour time frame for Euro JPY. Euro NZD, we entered in this trade quite a while ago. I think this is a good opportunity, honestly, for a second entry. Our risk to reward is actually going to be a bit better. I can actually pull that up, right? If we're looking to get long, I'm going to be actually entering in this trade live right now with a very small risk. But if we're looking, I'm just going to ballpark this right around there, right? We're looking for even like just a take profit 2 on this, right? We're looking at a 2.65 ratio. If we are actually to snag all the way up to take profit 3, we're looking at almost double the risk to reward ratio. We're entering it in right here, right? I think it's a good opportunity. When we're looking at that daily time frame, I have a trend line, a daily time frame. This was drawn back here. Let me move this over. All right, so we've seen it bounce off of this a couple times. We're kind of getting to the bottom of that trend line. All right, stop loss is right on the other side. So if we did see a break of that trend line, then our stop loss would be there. I'm liking this giant wick on that daily time frame. This is indicating that there's weakness in the bears, right? And we should see this potentially continue up. We are trading right below that 200 MA on the daily time frame though. So we may see today retest that 200 MA, and this could actually create a wick, and then we could see that actually reject. So I'd be cautious on, if you enter in this trade, trying to move up that stop loss to break even when it reaches that 200 MA on that daily time frame. Let's go ahead and look at the 4 hour. 4 hour, right? You saw it, it's now slowly kind of coming up. Let's go ahead and look at this at XK, right? Take profit ones right at that monthly support and resistance. Also, it has that 200 MA at that 4 hour time frame. So let's go ahead and look at this trade on XK, Euro, NZD. Pull up the XK template. All right, 4 hour time frame. Absolute strength histogram have crossed. We need 24 minutes until this candlestick closes, but pretty positive that these lines will remain crossed. They haven't crossed quite some time, right? We've seen this bearish trend. We were outside the B band zone on the 4 hour time where it was present. This is set up here. We do have that stock indicator pushing up quite aggressively, but I'm not really focused on that because we do have the absolute strength histogram lines actually crossed. And when we have those crossed, I'm more so looking at this indicator rather than these two down here. Looking at that daily time frame, we're outside the B band zone, all right? Confirmation one. We don't have an arrow present. If we saw a little more pressure to the upside, I'm sure that arrow would appear. In the stock indicator, we're looking for a third confirmation here. We're in the oversold area. We have that blue line actually cross the downside. That's a good sign that we should see this trend actually continue to be bullish on that daily time frame. And the RSI isn't in the extremely oversold area, but it's kind of bounced off that 25 line. Looking at the weekly time frame, stock indicators entering in that oversold area. Absolute strength histogram is indicating that this is actually going to continue to be bearish. Looking at that monthly time frame, this is also indicating that's going to be bearish. So this is a trade setup that if we buy it right now, we'd be trading against the main trend, which is now identified right off that absolute strength histogram on the monthly time frame that we're going to see this continue to be bearish. So this is a trade setup that I would be placing very lightweight on. It's not a cream of the crop trade, right? We don't have all the confirmations definitely in our favor. This would be a trade setup I'd be more so looking to not place a lot of weight on. I do like, even though we have the absolute strength histograms lines crossed, looking down at that stock indicator is kind of in that oversold area or approaching that. Looking down the smaller time frames is where I'd be looking for my entry point, right? 1 hour time frame, we're already above the B band zone, red arrow is present. On the stock indicator, we're looking to be entering in that overbought area. Same thing kind of with the 30-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, right? We hit that 15-minute 200 MA, and we're seeing this kind of reject off of it. So what I would be looking for an entry point, it's not ready for an entry yet. We're right at that 200 MA on the 1 minute. What I would be looking for this trade to be actually entered in. I'm going to enter it in now. This is a demo account just to show you an example of how I'm actually going to take the trade. I do like the kind of position that it's in. It's not an ideal position because if I was really going like heavy on this trade, I would really like to wait for a bigger retracement, maybe for the stock indicator to get into the oversold area on some of these other time frames to be picking this up for a buy. But I do want to kind of show you how this would work. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll be risking 0.5% on the trade setup. Let's go to position size calculator. Go to 15-minute time frame. A good sign that this trend's gonna reverse would be a strong break above this 1500, 200 MA. If we saw a strong break above this MA on the 15-minute time frame, we could see that strong impulsive move. It'll come back, retest, and that would be an ideal spot to actually buy this trade. So let's go ahead and actually just place this though, so we're not don't have to sit on this call for 5 hours for this trade setup to actually enter it in. Right? As long as we're using proper risk management, it really doesn't matter on the exact entry. We'll go to indicator list. Let me actually get down my take profits and stuff here. Minimize that. All right, indicator list. Position size calculator. All right, entry level. This is going to be our current price, 1.75212. Stop loss is going to be 1.7285. Risk, only going to be risking 0.5%. Go ahead and hit OK. Hit close. All right. So it's saying, right, $25. It's going to want me to place a 0.01. Let's go ahead and place a 0.01. That doesn't sound right, but 0.01, right? I drag my stop loss. All right, so it's a little off, $16. Not bad, but it is a 230 pip stop loss. And I'm just going to plot my take profits. So let's go ahead and do that. First take profit would be 1.7793. Make this line green. We'll go solid. And then drag up the take profit. So we're pretty much at a 1-to-1 risk ratio on this. And then I'm just going to kind of wait this out. If this told me I could place like a 0.03, I would have divided my trade up. I can't divide a trade up any more than, 0.01. I can't, you can't place a smaller trade than that. So if I was able to actually place out more, if I wanted to risk more percent on my account, I would have added the additional take profits and placed in multiple positions. For this case, I would have placed the first entry here, and I would have actually come down to, that 15-minute or the 1 hour time frame. And then what I would have done is placed buy limits. So I would have come down here, right, placed buy limit, and then, we're looking at the daily time frame, placed a buy limit. That way, if the trend does go against me, I could get a better entry point than that. And I would just kind of scatter these out between the stop loss in here. But I'm going to delete these. Don't want to be risking any more on this trade. So just to recover this again, right, I would be waiting for a break of that 15-minute 200 MA if you're going to be looking to enter in this trade. We're seeing that, right, just in state of consolidation here. A strong break above. Wait for the retest of that 200 MA on the 15-minute time frame, then get long on Euro NZD. That would be an ideal setup. All right, GA. We entered in the buy zone, last week or something, right? It was the 4th. This was maybe 2 weeks ago, 13th and 10th. We were in that buy zone. We did pick up some buy positions. had some profit, and then we ended up hitting our stop loss that was in at break even. So we pretty much, gained a little bit of money, not much on the trade. What I would love for this to come back down to, my buy zone. I think looking on the daily time frame, that's kind of what's going to happen. So normally what happens is a lot of people get trapped in this first move up. Right? We have this impulsive move. Everyone sees this. Everyone that's trading, they're like, wow, this thing just dropped, X amount of pips or whatever. It's just had this impulsive move. What is everyone going to be doing? Everyone's going to be trying to get long. So then they'll have that small pressure to the upside. Most people will see that trend late, right? They don't want to be entering here because they think it's going to keep falling. A lot of psychology, you got to think of psychology. They're not going to be entering it because they're thinking that it's going to keep falling. They're going to enter in the momentum. A lot of people enter in the momentum, and then that's when you see the trend actually reverse on them. And then they'll have their stop losses really tight. Stop losses get hit. Brokers make all the money, right? So what I'm thinking is going to happen is we might actually see this continue down, make a double bottom, and then continue to the upside on GA. But we have to kind of rely on what XK is going to be telling us on this. So let's go ahead and pull up GA on XK here. Right, way below the 4-hour 200 MA, 1 hour time frame. We're in consolidation right at that 1 hour 200 MA. Could start to see actually just push up on it. Right, we're trading above the 30-minute 200 MA. That's a good sign. We haven't been trading above this for quite some time. 15-minute consolidation on a 200 MA. 5-minute consolidation on a 200 MA. 1 minute, pretty much consolidation on that 200 MA. All right. So let's go ahead and look at XK here and see what that's saying. Yeah. All right. So this is, two scenarios here, right? We can see this push. This is going to be the same thing with Euro AUD. If we see Euro AUD start to be bullish, more than likely, we're going to see GA do the exact same thing. There's some correlation between the two pairs, right? They move similar. I wouldn't say they move identical, but they do move quite similar together, right? What we're seeing here on GBP AUD, we're outside the V-band zone. We have the blue arrow present, right? Absolute strength histogram cross was for bullish trend, but when we're looking at that cross wasn't very significant. Normally, if they're a strong X, then we'll see an impulsive move in that favor, whatever that cross was. But this isn't a strong X. It was like they kind of crossed, and now they're kind of trying to come back towards each other. So this is telling me that we may not see this trend be an impulsive move to the upside. We may actually see it continue to the downside. We can see these lines recross for a bearish trend. Stock indicator is already fastly approaching that overbought area, and we haven't seen any push really to the upside. So this is indicating that the bulls are kind of being exhausted here. I would love to see, 4-hour time frame, right? Absolute strength histogram crossed for a bearish trend. Stock indicator is also indicating that it's going to be bearish on that 4-hour time frame. Right, 1 hour time frame, same thing. We're just entering in that overbought area, stock indicator across. So I think we're going to see GA continue a little lower. I would love to see a test of my buy zone again to potentially then get long on GA. Right, if we entered in here right now, man, I mean, we could see some serious drawdown before we actually went into profit. Delete that. Again, I'm not trying to force any trades. I want these trades to be entering in these zones that I have put in place to make them ideal trades. Just have to be patient, right? If we entered in this trade, we're looking at a 400 pip stop loss. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to see 400 pips of drawdown. That's not ideal for me. So I would love to see this push down. I think more than likely that's what's going to happen, and then we'll see another push up. Or it might just continue to be bearish. Same thing's gonna go with GCAD. Did want to buy this last week, never did. I have my buy zone all the way down here with some buy limits. A very tight stop loss if it does enter in that buy zone. If GA continues to be bearish, more than likely we're going to see GCAD also be bearish. I'm not going to really break down that pair. Same thing with GN. GN's a little bit different because we're actually hitting the bottom of this channel from 2016. And, right, when we're actually looking at this trade, this was my buy zone right here and here, right in between here. So we're just above my buy zone on GBP NZD, a better reward to risk. And GN is generally a very sideways trending pair. So we normally don't see that big of an impulsive move. Just recently is like these two moves here is the most impulsive move I've seen on GN in, I don't know, probably about 2.5 years. This is the biggest, most impulsive move I've seen. I mean, for the vast majority of the time, right, we're seeing bearish candle, bullish candle, bearish candle, bullish candle. We'll see like a very sideways trend. So I think we could see a push up on GBP NZD going forward. We'll kind of see what XK is saying. We're at that bottom, pretty much have reached that bottom of the channel, right above that daily or the buy zone. GBP NZD. Right, looking at that weekly time frame, we're at a weekly 200 MA. Stock indicator is very oversold. It's a good sign, right? Daily time frame is what I'm a little concerned about, right? We are outside the B band zone. We did have that blue arrow present. I would love to see another blue arrow pop up. These lines on the absolute strength histogram, they were touching at one point. They were ready to cross right here when we had 1, 2, and then this was at some point in time, this was another bullish candle. We did see those lines on absolute strength histogram touch, but now they diverged. Normally when we see that, we see another impulsive move to the downside. I'm going to play this off for the next 24 hours, again, with all the other GBP pairs, because I think that we could see another wave down on GBP. I'm just going to be playing it patient. Like Sundays are, sometimes we'll be able to get in trade, sometimes we won't. There's not a whole lot that you're going to miss out in the first, I would say, 12 to 24 hours of the markets really opening up. Really, Mondays and Tuesdays are the best days to be getting into these trades. So GN, we're just going to be waiting this out. I would love to see potentially, a 4-hour cross on absolute strength histogram or these stock indicators to tell me something different. But I'm just really cautious on entering in that trade as of right now. NZD Swiss, I have a buy zone down here. Not going to cover this trade on the call. It has a long ways to go for my buy zone. I'm thinking that we're going to see a double top here, and then this is going to push down. Probably something that we're not going to be entering in. If it continues to push up, we missed that opportunity, no big deal. But like I said, not going to force a trade. I want it to be in this buy zone before I'm actually picking up NZD Swiss. NZD JPY. In this trade, right, stop loss has already moved to break even. We already hit take profit 1, 2, and 3. I sent out a second entry. That's this gold line. So we're in a little bit of drawdown on that. Really, I want to see that break of that trend line. I do think that NZD JPY has a potential of actually being bullish for a little bit. But let's see what XK is saying. Is there anyone that's in this trade, NZD JPY? Anyone in NZD JPY?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I am, Jesse.
Are you in drawdown, I assume?
Yeah, just a little bit, not too bad.
Okay. I would be potentially looking to, it's up to you if you want to play it out, but as of right now, just doing a quick look, I'm just like doing all the analysis in my head right now. I'm thinking that this is going to continue to be bullish. So
Okay.
it was me personally, I'd probably take the very small loss and just be patient and wait for another trade setup. What we're seeing on NZD JPY is this is the 4-hour time frame. Looking at this 200 MA, is we've had a real struggle of breaking below that 200 MA on the 4-hour time frame. And now we've seen another, pretty much right here is another bounce off that 200 MA on that 4-hour time frame. And I think we're going to see these JPY trades have a little bit of retracement. I mean, a lot of these, CHF JPY, Euro JPY, USD JPY, they've all had a pretty impulsive move to the downside for the past week or so. Nothing goes in a straight line, so I think we're going to see a little bit of retracement on this. When we're looking at NZD JPY on this daily time frame, we're actually seeing those absolute strength histogram lines touching each other, the blue lines trying to cross. So if in the next 20 hours, we see that NZD JPY, these absolute strength histogram lines actually cross, we could see the next 1 to 3 days actually be bullish on NZD JPY. So you could see some drawdown on that trade. So you could take a small loss now and then wait for potentially a re-entry or make it up on another trade. That's what I would be personally doing. This currency pair has been obviously in a very sideways trending motion here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 9 days. We haven't seen any movement. Barely, let's see here. 70 pips, 70, 80 pips of movement, up and down. So I'll just be cautious on this. Stop losses at break even. These higher time frames are still in our favor, monthly and weekly, but these smaller time frames are not. We're just looking like we should see NZD JPY kind of push up. So there definitely will be, I think, more than likely a re-entry on this. Maybe we'll come back up to our sell zone actually, and we'll be able to get short again when it actually enters in my sell zone. So scenario one would be we'll see a break, a strong break below, and probably test this right here, probably test this level right at 70, right? We'll probably see a test of 70. We'll see that strong break. Or scenario two is we're going to see this actually push back up to the sell zone. We'll get short on the sell zone, and then we'll see another move down. All right. I think this option is more than likely is going to happen. Is we'll see a push up to our sell zone and then a push down.
Okay, thanks.
NZD USD. In a little bit, a drawdown on this. I do have a second entry that was up here at this 4-hour level support or resistance. Have to look at XK for this trade. NZD USD. All right, in the past hour or so, we've seen that push up. We've probably seen gold actually push up too, haven't we? Gold, silver, yep. Gold and silver up. Yeah. 1951. Probably because what we've seen on the dollar. Yep. See the dollar? Dollar's actually been dropping since we've got on this call. So now we're seeing probably all the USD pairs also drop. And we're probably seeing, NZD USD is going to be probably rising right now. Gold, silver is going to be rising right now. Probably seeing maybe even a push up on US 30. It's all about this dollar here. If we see a break below this on the dollar, that's when I'd be more probably taking a loss a little earlier, depending on where we're at. But if we definitely see this, this is the 4-hour time frame. We haven't seen that break above that 4-hour 200 MA. We definitely could see this lower. So be cautious on that. Be aware of the dollar in these trades, because that's what's really going to be driving it. Yeah, we've seen a strong break above that 1 hour or 1 minute 200 MA. This was a strong impulsive move. We'll probably get a retest of that 200 MA on a 1 minute time frame. Not a guarantee. But if it did get a retest and and your trades were in profit and the dollar is still dropping, I'd be looking to close out those trades for a small profit or a small loss at that point. So we could see a retest that's at 1949 on the gold. Could see a retest of that, but it's really going to be driven by what the dollar is actually doing. And right now the dollar is saying that we're going lower. Let's look at XK on this for real quick on the dollar. Daily time frame, all right, absolute strength histogram line is actually crossed for a bearish trend, reaching that oversold area on the stock indicator. Can't really tell anything from the higher time frames, but we've just seen consolidation. When you see a state of consolidation like these indicators don't read the best. And we've seen just a real strong state of consolidation here. So I can't rely really a whole lot on what these indicators are telling me. And obviously this day just started, so a lot could happen, right? This day could totally turn around and end up being bullish. But just watch that dollar, people that are in any USD trades. If we see this break of this low, that's when I would be looking to potentially enter into a hedge on my USD trades or taking the loss and just waiting for a potential re-entry on that. But as of right now, it looks like XK is saying that the dollar is going to kind of head lower. But like I said, we're in a state of consolidation. There hasn't been a break either to the upside or the downside. So right now, consolidation on that. Right, so it's going to be the same thing with NZD USD. Let's go ahead and pull up XK. Looking at that daily time frame, right? Reach the top here again, right? Stock indicators in the overbought area. RSIs approach that 75 line. Pretty much got almost all the signs, right? We're outside the B band zone, not a crazy amount outside the B band zone. I'd love to see an arrow be present. So that would be confirmation too. If we get the arrow present, that would be more, I would be more confident in the trade setup. Looking at the 4-hour time frame though on NZD USD, we do have the absolute strength histogram lines crossing, right? We have a brand new 4-hour candlestick, so we'd have to see how this next 4 hours plays out. But if this 4 hours ends up being bearish on NZD USD, we're more than likely going to see this trend actually continue to be bearish on that trade. And right, we've just been in this channel since, back in March. So it hasn't even broken out of this. USD CAD, USD Swiss. USD CAD I'm still in, right? Entered in this trade, stop losses at break even. USD Swiss totally exited out. I had my stop loss at break even, and it got triggered. So I do have a buy zone back in on USD Swiss. Have some buy limits in here. I don't have the buy limits actually placed on my account yet. If I'm going to be picking up this trade again, I'll let you guys know. But as of right now, I am out of USD Swiss, going to be waiting for it to be entering in my buy zone again. USD JPY, I'm going to be cautious on the US dollar right now. I was going to enter in this trade on the call live today, but as I'm seeing the dollar just drop, I'm more cautious on that. DXY. I'm going to want to see some type of reversal on the dollar before I would be entering in USD JPY. But I'll send out the trade setup. I'll send out the channel. I'm not entering in the trade yet, but this would be a great, risk to reward. I mean, type stop loss here, where you got a stop loss at 104. If we saw a break of that 104, then we're going much lower. But like I said, JPY trades, I think that we're going to see that small retracement, and that's what I think was going to drive this. But if we see this dollar just keep dropping like it is right now, it'd be a little different story. And it's interesting to see how the brokers actually portray the dollar, right? Like when we look at my broker, right, TradingView here, right, this day is actually saying that it's bullish. We're at 92.999. And then we actually pull it up on, right, the broker. It's saying it's at 92.866. And we look at the daily candlestick is actually saying it's bearish. So depending on what you're seeing, there could be some manipulation being done on the broker to, trap certain people on certain positions. It's why I do a lot of my analysis on the TradingView, because I trust their feed a lot more than any broker out there, honestly. So yeah, USD JPY, I'll send this trade setup out, looking to get long on it, but I'm going to be waiting for the dollar to kind of turn around. So this could be a trade that I'll probably send out maybe a signal in the next 24 hours, potentially for an entry. I'll be being patient. Maybe if we see a test of 104, then I would enter in at 104 and I'll maybe move my stop loss, right below that. Maybe right down to like the 103.6 area or something. But I would like to see some type of reversal on that dollar. UK oil, we are short on UK oil. We are in some profit. I know some of you are quite heavy on oil right now. I do definitely just want to caution you that we could see this, have a small retracement. I would be looking to move my stop loss to break even as soon as we hit take profit one, even potentially a little earlier than take profit one. I'd be looking to move my stop loss to break even. We could see, some type of news come out this week where they're like, they want to brainwash everyone to think that the economy is doing so well, that we're in this V-shaped recovery. So who knows what Trump is going to come out and say to try to prop up oil to keep the stock market also propped up. So I'm a little cautious on this trade. If you guys are heavy on it, I would maybe, if some of your trades are in profit, maybe take a little bit of profit on those already, or at least move up the stop loss to break even on if you have multiple trades open. Say you have 3 trades open on oil, right? At least on 2 of them, if 2 of them are in profit, maybe move up those stop losses to break even. Because I think that we could see oil push back up to these highs where stop losses 46.5 and then another move down. Just be aware, and this is something that is very hard to track, because Trump could just come out and tweet something and this could totally change the whole situation, or some type of bombing could happen. And oil is a very fast moving commodity. So be aware of that. Let's go ahead and look at it on XK, UK oil. All right, looking at that daily time frame, this is what I love about the setup, and this is why I got in it. It is on the daily time frame. We're at that 200 MA on the daily time frame. We have a nice little doji here. This is a good sign for a trend reversal. Looking at the stocks in the overbought area. Absolute strength histogram lines are starting to cup towards each other. So really, you could put your stop loss even tighter, right above this recent high. If you want to take on less risk, right, you could actually move your stop loss to, right above here. I would be more comfortable at like $45, right? So let's go back to TradingView, right? You could have potentially just moved this down to like $45. Now you're not risking as much, right? Maybe if you were risking 1% of your account, now you're only risking like 0.5%. And that would just minimize the risk for you on that trade. I'm going to leave my original trade setup, but you guys are more than welcome to take on a little less risk and move down that stop loss to the 45 level. Going back to XK here, right? It's all lining up pretty nicely for this continue to be bearish on that daily time frame. 4-hour time frame, right? We came up, touched that 400, 200 MA. As long as we're trading below that 4-hour 200 MA, this trend is going to remain bearish. This 4-hour 200 MA is going to be acting as a level of resistance absolute strength histogram lines, right? Red lines on top, crosses to the downside. That's also indicating a bearish trend put into play on oil here. So still liking the setup, just cautious on potential news that be coming out. All right, we're seeing gold push up because we're seeing the dollar push down. The reason why I'm so short on this is just because we were in this channel all the way since 2016. This is the first time we've broken out of it. And really, this is like the first time since back in June of 2015 that we were actually trading below that 4-hour 200 MA. This is the first time we're actually trading below that. So this is why I was really keen on taking this trade setup, right? We still have our stop loss right above that high, 1974. I think, if anything, we'll see a retest that's this 200 MA. So that's at 1960 again. So in the next 24 to 48 hours, we could see a retest of 1960 and then another move lower. Gold can tend to be in a state of consolidation for quite some time. So we could definitely see it push up, right, to 1960 and then move lower. It's going to really depend on what the dollar is doing. Same thing with silver. I want to get short on silver. I haven't entered this in yet. Maybe we'll get that retest of that 200 MA of the 4-hour time frame, and then we could potentially be getting short on silver also, right? Or maybe even looking at that 20-minute time frame, or we could even go to XK, right? Let's go to XK. Let's go to gold, right? Gold's pushing up here, 1953. Pull out XK. Right, XK saying bullish, 15-minute, absolute strength histogram line cross on a 30-minute time frame. We're reaching that 200 MA on the 30-minute time frame, so that could act as a level of resistance. We saw a break above that. We could be seeing that push to 1960. 1-hour time frame, absolute strength histogram lines are about to cross. We just had a bounce off of that 200 MA on that 1-hour time frame also. And then the 4-hour, we have to wait for this 4 hours. So we still have, we're still in a state of consolidation. I mean, for the past over a day, right, we haven't really broken above this 200 MA. So I would say as long as we're staying below this 200 MA on that 4-hour time frame, we should still see a continuation of the bearish trend. If we did see a break above that 4-hour 200 MA, I'll be looking into potentially placing a hedge trade or cutting my losses maybe a little early and then waiting for a re-entry. On that daily time frame, right, state of consolidation, indicators aren't going to tell me a whole lot because we've just been flat for weeks on end. So I can't really base that off of that. But what I'm loving on this is just these higher time frame, that monthly time frame. I mean, stock indicators in that extremely overbought area. We have those lines actually crossed here, right? Red line crossed the downside. That's going to be an early sign that we should see this trend continue to be bearish. And absolute strength histogram lines aren't even close to being crossed, but that stock indicator is what's telling me on these higher time frames that we should see this continue to be bearish. Weekly time frame, right? Consolidation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks where we've been just flat. So it's gonna be, if it makes a break above, I think if it makes a break above this 4-hour 200 MA, we're gonna go to 2075. We're gonna go back to these highs. Let's pull this back up on Trading View. Let's go to gold. Go to 4-hour time frame. If we break above this 4-hour, so 1960, I believe if we pretty much break above 1960, that we're going to see this push up pretty aggressive back up to the highs of 2075, and then we'll get long. But until it does that, I think the next option would be that we see a real impulsive move to the downside. So we'll have to play this out, be patient on it, see how it plays out. Not much else to say about that. And then US 30, right? We got short on US 30. We already took our profits. We hit this monthly level of support. That was a phenomenal trade for us there. I am looking to potentially get short again on US 30. This is going to depend on oil. This is also going to depend on the 10-year yield. So you can actually, you can download an app. It's called investing.com. An app on your phone is the app that I use for all of my news events. It's also the app that I use to kind of keep track of a lot of the markets here. So the debt market, which is the market, Gregory Mannarino, which is a channel that I highly suggest you all subscribe to. Watch every single one of his videos. He talks about this highly. The 10-year yield is what we want to look at. So the bonds, if you go to bonds, the 10-year yield, right, is up 2.2% today. So that's the debt market. If we see the debt market start falling, we should also see US 30 follow it. If we start seeing oil fall, right, US 30 will also kind of follow that trend. So based off of what oil is doing, what the dollar is doing, and what the 10-year yield is doing, based off of those three things, we can determine what it's going to do. If the dollar starts to rise, if the 10-year yield starts to lower and oil starts to get lower, then we should see also US 30 lower. So I'm just going to be looking at those three signs to determine on a trade setup for this. I have no take profits, no stop loss, no nothing, no trade in. I'm just waiting for this to kind of play out, and then when I do enter it in, I'll be sending out that trade setup on US 30. It's going to be more so probably of a scalper trade and kind of last minute. So if you're on at that time, you'll probably be able to snag it. If not, US 30 does move pretty fast, so you might miss out on the trade that I send out on that. But it is what it is. All right, so that pretty much wraps up all of the trade setups, right? I was hoping to take some more trades live on the call. Right, we're in that gold trade and stuff. Right, we're back up to our original entry, 1954. But it's just going to be all dependent on what the dollar is going to end up doing for us. Just entered in that one trade, right? Euro NZD, which is in a little bit of drawdown. I'm going to wait out. I'll probably send out another trade setup, late tonight in the London session, New York session. But until then, I think we're going to have to wait this out and see what happens with the dollar. I do want to open it up to questions now. So if you have any questions.
I have one question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
You said when the 10-year yields, bonds, dollar, and oil, when they rise, you said US 30 is going to rise. But aren't they happening at the same time that we don't have
It's not like it's an immediate thing either. And it's not like an immediate correlation. Just because those things happen doesn't mean that US 30 has to go up or down. So if you see the dollar rise, right, and you see the 10-year yield fall, we should see US 30 also fall.
Oh.
But it's not going to be like a snap of a finger, like, oh, US 30, like the dollar's, just now going up. You're not going to see like a direct reflection of that. It may happen like that, but sometimes it'll be lagging. It might be like a day or so before you see the actual that actually happening.
Oh, so it can take a day, or it might not happen.
Yeah, it's not like an immediate. It's not a like immediate correlation with that.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Jesse, a question on gold. If we see it break above 1960, is it and it goes above that, rather than wait till we get to the sort of stop loss of like 1974, are we best to sort of, if we wanted to take less of a hit, we could stop it as it's sort of starting to creep up? Is that because you sort of say you think it will go above? Yeah.
Yeah.
So a bit like you just advised on the NZDJPY, is just sort of take the hit early.
Yep.
Yep.
It's all up to you on your personal risk tolerance. If you want to wait it out, or if you don't.
Thanks.
What time frame are you looking at the 200 MA on for gold that you just said that about? I just missed that part.
4 hour.
4 hour.
I'm just checking all my accounts right now. But yeah, I'm still paying attention. Any other questions here?
No, it was a great call again. Thanks, Jesse. Really appreciate all your input and insight.
You're very welcome. Hopefully we see this kind of turn around. I got a sell limit pretty much at 1960 for gold here. We'll see how this kind of plays out, right? It came up to 1950. Looking at smaller time frames like the 1 hour, could see a potential head and shoulders action kind of going on here. So like I said, we just got to keep an eye on that dollar. All right, we're seeing it now push down a bit. No other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question. With gold and the dollar being so closely correlated, how do you know how accurate fibs can be when it comes to gold?
Pretty instantly. If you start to see the dollar rise, gold will pretty much be falling right with it, or vice versa. If you start to see the dollar fall, you'll probably see gold start rising. And that one's noticing it's pretty instant. Like, the correlation between the two is right spot on.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so we just hit 1955. Now we're back down to 1953. It literally just wicked up and hit one of my stop losses at profit. I was like, damn. Should have took them up when they're $2,000 up. No, it's all good. All right, let's go ahead and look at this for a sec. All right. Yeah, dollar. I mean, we're just in state of consolidation. I would love to see, like, it has to break below this, and then I'd be more confident, and that's going to go lower, or break above, and then we'd be going higher. But it's just in that state of consolidation. But what I was kind of saying on gold here is this is kind of the head and shoulders that I'm seeing. Right, we've come out to probably even a 2 hour here. So this is the head, right? We have a shoulder here, head, and then we could be creating another shoulder here. So we might see, this kind of consolidate here, and then maybe the next 4 hours be bearish, and we can see that then move to the downside on gold here. Little small head and shoulders, and we'll see like another repeat of what happened here, back down to take profit one. But it's pretty much came right back up to our entry and is now as a pretty strong rejection off of that. So we'll see how this plays out. Check the check. Gold made an aggressive move up to 1950 over 1954. Yep. All right, everyone. Well, call is recorded. It'll be posted up in the next 24 hours. And if you have any other additional questions or anything like that, just make sure you ask in chat. I'm more than likely going to be up for the rest of the night, London session and New York session. So if you have those questions, I'll be asked. What are you laughing at, Clint?
Because
rather
you're so
sleep?
funny. You just go and sleep. You're like, okay, I'm pretty much going to be up until Friday at about 4 o'clock. You know, I'll do the Friday call and then I'm going to sleep for Saturday. I'll take Saturday off. I'll sleep. And then I'm going to be back at it on Sunday for all.
You know, I don't take Saturdays off. Saturdays are for all filming content.
I know. I had you film 5 or 6 videos on your day off. Oh, that's funny.
The madman.
Saturdays are more so my lazy days. The days I get to catch up on sleep. Yeah. But Marty doesn't sleep.
Yep. Super cool. Awesome call.
All right.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thanks for hopping on. Hope this was educational. And as always, may the trades be with you all.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.